As the best-selling vehicle in the Subaru product portfolio last year, the Crosstrek is obviously a very important model. Now for 2026, the Crosstrek Hybrid finally returns, significantly improving the fuel efficiency and power underneath the hood. And today we're actually back out here at Calamigos Ranch in Malibu, California, because we're finally able to see the 2026 Crosstrek Hybrid here in America in production specs. So now that we're seeing this new SUV in the sheet metal, let's go ahead and take a detailed first look. Hey guys, if you've ever been injured in a car accident, then today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, can make it so much easier to help you fight to get the compensation that is entitled to you. If you've ever had the displeasure of dealing with insurance companies who seem to only care more about their profits over your well-being, then you know that having someone on your side fighting for you can make a huge difference. Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy because you can submit a claim in 8 clicks or less, all without having to leave the comfort of your own home. But wait, I know what you're thinking. Finding a lawyer can be such a pain, right? Thankfully, Morgan & Morgan has modernized the process of finding legal representation because you can submit a claim, communicate with your legal team, all from this. That's right, your smartphone. Now, of course, there are certain things you need to make sure you do if you're ever in a car accident. Number 1, make sure you're okay. Number 2, make sure you get a police report. Number 3, make sure you contact your insurance company. And finally, number 4, make sure you find legal representation if needed. And the best part, the fee is absolutely free unless you win. So don't wait any longer, guys. To take action and to protect your rights, you can visit www.tryforthepeople.com/Redline Reviews, or by simply calling 844-263-7798. And now let's get back to the video. Now, the Crosstrek family is certainly no stranger to the hybrid powertrain. If you guys remember the first generation Crosstrek, which was known as the XV Crosstrek, actually it was available as a hybrid from 2014 to 2016. Subaru eventually offered a plug-in hybrid of the second generation from 2019 all the way up to 2023 when the all-new third generation came out. So now for 2026, the hybrid is back, and as you can see, it's gone back to being just a conventional hybrid. However, it still uses some Toyota powertrain tech because, as you guys know, Subaru actually is owned, or 20% of Subaru is actually owned by Toyota. So what you're going to find here is essentially the same powertrain variation that we first saw under the hood of the new Forester hybrid. It combines the company's 2.5-liter gasoline direct injection Boxer Flat 4. So it still uses a Boxer Flat 4-cylinder engine paired up with 2 electric motors. Now those 2 electric motors are sandwiched within the bell housing of the electronic CVT transmission. There's basically an MG1, which is essentially the same electric motor borrowed from the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. However, the MG2, which is the traction motor, is actually bigger and more powerful, and that's because Subaru's system here uses a conventional symmetrical all-wheel drive system. So there's actually a physical drive shaft coming from the engine going all the way to the rear axle. That's a huge difference versus what Toyota uses in the RAV4 hybrid, which is a separate electric motor. Subaru says this layout essentially is going to give us improved traction, better off-road performance, and just a better all-wheel drive system, and that's what Subarus are known for. The transmission, like I said, is an eCVT, so it's technically not the lineartronic CVT that you're used to in other Crosstrek models. And while the company said that they weren't ready to talk about fuel economy figures just yet, they also said that they didn't have final power figures just yet, but we do know that this powertrain makes 194 horsepower in the Subaru Forester hybrid. I expect it to be similar in the Crosstrek hybrid, which represents a pretty big power jump from the base engine, which delivers around 152 horsepower. This also has more horsepower versus the 182 that you get in the non-hybrid version of this. If you guys remember, the Crosstrek hybrid from 2014 had around 160 horsepower. The plug-in hybrid had around 190 or 148 horsepower. So this is actually a big jump at 194. So I'm really happy that Subaru has made that improvement. Like I said earlier, we don't have the final fuel economy figures just yet, but I expect this model to get well over 40 mpg whenever Subaru does have that final figure available. Curb weight, we don't have that final spec just yet, but I expect this model to also be the heaviest version of the Crosstrek. But it's really great to me how Subaru has finally improved the power and improved the efficiency, so I'm looking forward to eventually driving this vehicle at some point later this year. Now let's go ahead and close up the hood here and talk about the exterior styling. Now, this all-new third-generation Crosstrek was first debuted last year as a 2024 model, so obviously for 2026, the design stays pretty much the same, but there are a couple of distinctions here that let you know that this is the hybrid model. First of all, this color is called Sand Dune Pearl. It's kind of like an introduction color for the US here for the hybrid. There's also going to be a bright yellow, but I can't remember the name of the yellow off the top of my head right now. You can see the Subaru's hexagonal grille here is bold front and center. It has kind of like a new frameless design with these actual functional air intake openings. The big Subaru logo there houses also a camera for the front camera system, and then you can see the headlights. You're going to get On this limited trim that I'm showing you here, they're steering adaptive full LED headlights. It even includes an LED daytime running light, LED turn signal, and you also have the additional cladding down here, which I actually think looks pretty tasteful. The hybrid also includes LED fog lights and more cladding here at the lower front splitter. There's also around 8.7 inches of ground clearance, so basically all the off-road capability that you expect from a Crosstrek, that's going to be preserved here by going with the hybrid. Subaru says that the hybrid trim will be available in most of the specs, or the hybrid powertrain will be available in most of the trims, starting at the premium, the sport, and the limited trim that I'm showing you here, which sits at the very top of the Crosstrek powertrain lineup, although the Wilderness is not going to be available with the hybrid, at least for now. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see dimensions are unchanged. This vehicle is a subcompact SUV. However, its interior space is certainly a little bit more than some of its competitors at an overall length of around 176.3 with a 105.1 inch long wheelbase. This vehicle is about the same size as like a Toyota Corolla Cross. A Ford Bronco Sport is actually a little bit smaller than this vehicle. But again, it still has that 8.7 inches of ground clearance that you expect when you guys buy a Crosstrek. Looking at the wheels, you can see these are a unique designed, it looks like an 18-inch wheel that you get with the limited trim. It's a 225 by 55 R18. It's a Falcon, kind of like an all-season street tire. Again, if you guys want a more capable Crosstrek off-road, you're going to be looking at the Wilderness, but you have to sacrifice the hybrid. The cladding here along the side is also pretty tasteful. It looks good with the sand dune pearl exterior color. You have an all-independent suspension, although I suspect the suspension has been revised slightly to accommodate the extra weight with the hybrid componentry. This vehicle should also use a 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That's going to provide power, of course, to the hybrid system, which Subaru says they've actually mounted underneath the rear seat. Now, there's a subtle little hybrid badge here with the Boxer logo, because again, this is not something similar to like Mazda does. This is essentially a Subaru engine with Toyota's hybrid tech, which is fantastic. There's also kind of this like satin gray paint finish for the side mirrors with integrated turn signals. I also like every Crosstrek comes with the actual raised roof rails where you can actually put some decent weight up here like a roof tent. There's a standard sunroof, obviously. I actually would love to see Subaru do like a black painted roof. I think that would look fantastic. They offer that in the Forester, but obviously not here on the Crosstrek. And then moving over to the rear, you can see same styling touches are going to be apparent here. You have an LED combination for the rear taillights. The turn signal, as you can see, is just an incandescent. There's a subtle little hybrid badge here below the Crosstrek logo. I also like the kind of blacked out badges that you get along with the additional cladding back here. It's very tasteful, no visible exhaust tips, obviously. But it certainly is going to be one of the more attractive looking compact SUVs that I personally think in the segment. Now, in terms of the cargo area, as you can see, no power rear liftgate. I was hoping Subaru would add that for the hybrid version, but you can see in terms of the cargo capacity, this is where the previous generation plug-in struggled, because if you guys remember, that used a powertrain and a battery from the Toyota Prius Prime at the time, and it raised the floor up a pretty decent amount by several inches. For the new hybrid model, Subaru has basically fixed that. Because the battery pack lives underneath the rear seat, this floor here is basically still level. Subaru says that it's not lower, however, like the non-hybrid, because there is the battery componentry here, but you do have a little bit of storage here with the fix-a-flat kit because there's no spare tires. So overall, as you can see, cargo capacity should be around 20 cubic feet with the seats up. If you want to fold down the seats here, which you can basically do by pulling on that little strap, it's kind of getting in the way of the front seat. That should expand the cargo to around 55 cubic feet of space, which is good. It's not best in class, but it's certainly going to be more than what you might find from some of its competitors like the Toyota Corolla Cross. Now, moving on to the interior of this 2026 Subaru Crosstrek Hybrid Limited. Now, first of all, getting inside is really easy in the Crosstrek, and that's because it has 8.7 inches of ground clearance. It has that typical SUV step-in height, and once you get into this cabin, this is why the Subaru Crosstrek continues to be one of the most popular vehicles in this segment. It's just very comfortable. You have a nice commanding view of the road. You have these really comfortable seats, which, by the way, these should be kind of like an animal-free vegan leather interior. This is the limited trim. Subaru didn't really talk about what the upholstery was going to be, at least at this initial first look, but I suspect it's probably going to be the animal-free leather. It's kind of got this cool combination of being like a gray and a black with the contrast orange stitching, which is really nice. The seats are also two-level heated, which it uses the older switchgear as opposed to this switchgear in the actual screen where you have a button to turn on the heated seats. The steering wheel, as you can see, looks pretty much the same as any other Crosstrek. You do have the orange contrast stitching, and then this should be an animal-free leather, but again, I don't have that final detail. I'm only speculating because that's what Subaru told us for the Forester hybrid. Now, in terms of the door panel, you can see you have that same leatherette material here on the upper portion with the contrast stitch. You have this carbon fiber look textured trim. This area here is a hard touch injection molded plastic. It's nice and padded over here. And then the window controls, they are one touch for the front windows. However, the rear are just power. They're not one touch up or down. You do have paddles here to control the CVT, although it's an e-CVT, it's not the same kind of CVT. The steering wheel itself also offers a manual tilt and telescoping adjustment. And then in terms of the technology As you can see, the instrument panel is now a fully digital display. So this is the first Crosstrek to get the fully digital display. It's exclusive, of course, to the hybrid. It even shows you like a charge and eco and power display. And it also shows you a display there that tells you where the power is coming from, whether it's from the engine or from the battery pack going to the wheels, along with that new hybrid Boxer logo. I really like this new 12.3-inch display. You can customize that screen. If you guys want to put your GPS function in here, it's certainly a nice little touch. If you want to see more of a detail on that, be sure to watch our review on the Subaru WRX TS. In the center console here, or the center stack, you can see the 11.6-inch Subaru Starlink head unit is included. It includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you push this view button here, it actually does give you a full 360 perimeter scan. So I was not expecting Subaru to offer their 360 camera system in the Crosstrek Hybrid Limited. So that's a really nice feature. You can see the quality and the resolution looks good. I like the fact that they offer this, although in a small vehicle like that, you don't necessarily need a 360 camera, but you don't typically find that feature in this class. So bravo Subaru on finally improving your tech and really bringing it up a notch. You can see this is right here for the driver focus. It's a little dusty in this car. It has their latest EyeSight driver assist technology, obviously, and then that essentially watches your face to make sure that you're paying attention, you haven't fallen asleep behind the wheel. The upper portion here is a hard touch plastic. This portion here, however, is soft touch. This is also rubberized. It's not really soft touch, more that carbon fiber look trim. And then if you look over here, the glove box is damped, but not lined with felt. It's a bin style, offers a good amount of storage. Over in the center console, you can see traditional shifter to control the eCVT. So like the fact that Subaru decided to do that, you can see there's more of your 360 camera views. So really wasn't expecting the company to do something like that. It also has trajectory, it has rear cross traffic braking and all that other technology that you don't typically find in this segment of vehicles. So Subaru, I think, did a great job there. Your wireless phone charging pad is here, where it fits my iPhone 16 Pro Max nicely. You have 2 USB charging ports, piano black trim here, which I don't love, electronic parking brake, and then your cup holders are here along with the traditional 12-volt power outlet. You can see the center console is nice and padded. If you open it up, you can see the key fob is over here. And then it has this typical Subaru Intelligent Access key with all the buttons that you expect for lock, unlock, for the trunk. Although this doesn't have a power liftgate, I imagine it just pops it along with the panic function, which again is the typical stuff. Now above me, you can see just a standard sunroof. It does have a retractable manual shade. You can also open this up to tilt, or you can also slide it open to vent air. And then above me here as well, the map lights you can see are just incandescent, but that's a quick change if you guys want to go to an LED bulb. But overall, the interior feels pretty much the same. Comfortable seats, which are 8-way power over here, just a 4-way manual over here. No memory seats, so kind of keep that in mind. The Crosstrek is still pretty low on the Subaru totem pole for their lineup. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat. I can show you guys what that space is like really quick. Now, I mentioned earlier, the battery pack should live underneath the rear seat and the cargo floor. And in terms of the space back here, the regular Crosstrek offers around 36.5 inches of legroom. I suspect this should be pretty similar. We didn't have the final specs right now as of this filming. You can see material quality back here is a hard touch plastic, where you have this chrome accented door handle, padded armrest over here, which is nice. The windows are nice and tinted as well, which I love. And then in terms of storage compartments, you can see there's one on the passenger side here, not on the driver's side. The floor is not completely flat. There's also a decent amount of foot space. You do have 2 USB charging ports, but no rear seat air vents. Again, it reminds you that the Crosstrek is supposed to be a more affordable vehicle. And if you want to fold this down, you can see there's cup holders and then the armrest, and then the headroom space. There's a nice little carve out here. So I'd say I have like maybe an inch of additional headroom back here. So if you need to use this as a family car, the Crosstrek has pretty average to slightly above average rear seat space. Now, with just over 181,000 units sold, like I said earlier, the Crosstrek was Subaru's best-selling model. Technically, it always changes positions with the Forester and the Outback, but this is a very important vehicle for Subaru, and I'm really happy to see the company is bringing back the Crosstrek hybrid name to the States. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer, however, because Subaru says this is going to be a 2026 model year, which means you're going to have to wait until about winter of 2025, so probably around 9 to 10 more months before this starts showing up at your local Subaru dealerships. Now, in terms of pricing, we're only going to be able to speculate here because we don't have the final pricing figures. Now, the current 2025 Crosstrek in the non-hybrid configuration starts at just under $26,000, about $25,810 for the base version. The premium is going to be a couple $1,000s more. Going all the way up to the limited trim, you could spend around $35,000 for a wilderness trim as well, which I believe is the most expensive variant. Now, in terms of speculation, I would say that Subaru probably is going to charge between $1,500 to $3,000 extra. That's what I was estimating for the Forester hybrid. It could be a little bit less for the Crosstrek hybrid. So obviously Subaru needs to keep the pricing in check, because if you guys remember the plug-in hybrid model, that was around $35,000 in 2019 when it first came out. it went up to around $38,000. So I suspect this model should probably be in the same price range. And while it is not a plug-in hybrid, I think that the fact that Subaru just made it a conventional hybrid, they're going to significantly improve the fuel economy for this thing to get well over 40 mpg and improve the power. This is now going to be the most powerful variant of the Crosstrek ever. When it does come out, it should be a really nice addition, and you should also see Subaru significantly improve their sales. This is already the best-selling vehicle in the segment, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this vehicle kind of reach that 200,000 unit mark whenever this hybrid does go on sale for the 2026 model year. But I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2026 Subaru Crosstrek and the hybrid version. If you guys are also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you all in the next video.